Hey, don't turn it off yet. Here's what's coming up on the Nice Guys on Business.
We don't want to see a talking head anymore. We want to see a real person. We want to hear about your struggles. We want to hear about your challenges. We want to also learn, how does their information apply to me? Because, well, when we invest our time in listening to a podcast, watching a television show, whatever, our goal is to get something out of it.
Today on the Nice Guys podcast, fencing, fighting, torture, revenge, giants, monsters, chases, escapes, true love, miracles. Oh, no, that's The Princess Bride. Need an education on how to grow your business? The Nice Guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Welcome back, Funkin' fans. It is Funkin' Monday. My name is Strickland Bonner. On the other side of the microphone, Mr. Doug Sandler. Sorry if that's a little too much excitement for you on a Monday morning, but I'm fucking excited.
Wow, you're totally into it. Now, are you totally excited about the week because you can look into the time machine and can tell what the week already has in store?
I have a feeling our Tuesday and Thursday shows are going to be total. Is Kim kind of more straight-laced, or is it okay to say that Tuesday and Thursday is going to be a shit show?
Strickland does it. First of all, you've already dropped You've already dropped the F-bomb probably within the first 10 seconds.
You're right,
and secondly, do you actually even care? I mean, not that you don't care about what our guests think. I know that especially with Kim, who is a friend of the Nice Guys and a listener to our show.
Wait. She listens? Like she regularly listens even before you talk to her?
Well, there's a difference between listens to the show and being a regular listener.
I'm okay with even that she's like listened to a couple episodes and
I would say that Kim would probably agree with me in saying that nothing that she does is actually regular.
Nothing at all.
No, I mean, she's totally an outside-the-box thinker, which makes Kim Tracy and the Maxwell James Agency that much more attractive to people that are interested in hiring them to be their agency of choice.
I love that. The Maxwell James Agency, their website is maxwelljames.net. They do speakers, and they got amazing speakers. What is her role there at Maxwell James?
She comes across as an owner, so I'm gonna go with owner.
We're gonna run with that, right? Like you really have no idea what she actually does there, but you know what? We're going to run with that.
One of the things that I failed to probably mention or ask with Kim and probably everybody else is, well, what is your position within your organization? The way that most come across is they come across as the owner. So let's go with Kim owns the agency. I really feel quite confident that she is, if not owning the agency, she's probably a partner within the agency too.
You think?
Can we go with that?
I don't know. I'm looking at her about MJA page.
Yeah.
And the first thing it says is a note from Kim Tracy. So I think she owns it, or she was she started it. Well, it's funny. It says Maurice Evans is like the first name, and then Kim Tracy, it says agent.
I think
but I think she still put it together.
Yeah, I think between Mo and Kim, I'm pretty sure that they run the organization. What's great about Kim is Kim has been a wealth of people, of guests for the show. They've come on our show, and they're actually lining up. I mean, she has done a really good job. I think they represent. I can't remember the number.
She's sending us speakers.
Yeah, like all of our speakers. I'm looking at like their bios, and I'm thinking, I'd like to have Pam on the show, and Doug on the show, and Craig on the show, and Mo on the show. And she's actually lined most of those people up already to be on our show. So if nothing else. Connie Fife. What's interesting, Connie actually introduced me to Kim to begin with.
Really?
Yeah. And now between Connie and Kim, we're working on a project to take our turnkey podcast company out to corporate America and actually introduce them to the idea and the concept of bringing a podcast to their organization. So between Connie Fife and Kim over at Maxwell James, I've been very positive about where the turnkey podcast company has been going, and they've done a really good job. And between Connie and Kim, I'm feeling kind of confident that something's going to happen in a good way soon.
That sounds like planning.
Yeah, there's a lot
unlike us.
I know. Well, you know what? If you leave the planning to someone else, they'll actually take care of it for you.
We do talk about that a lot. It's like whatever it is that we don't excel at, you need to find somebody else to help you with that. And that's exactly what we've done with our Turnkey podcast. You're right.
Yep. Before we get to the interview with Kim Tracy over at the Maxwell James Agency, just want to mention a couple of things. If you are listening on Overcast, and we appreciate you listening on Overcast, and we also appreciate you listening on Stitcher too, now that we figured out where the recommend button is there. But especially
after 2 years.
After 2 years. If you are listening on Overcast, just do us a favor and just go ahead and click the recommend button. That's the little star button right next to the play button on Overcast on your iOS player. We are right now at number 3 in the Overcast overall record, and that is really cool. We're behind 2 small shows, just like who are those guys again?
Tim Ferriss and Jordan Harbinger.
Yeah, them. Yeah. So we're number 3 overall. We're the number 1 business show on Overcast. Thank you, everybody. We are now, I think it is 95 days away, 94, something like that. November 24th is day 100 on our quest to 1 million downloads. Last week, we had a goal of 21,000 downloads. We actually got to 24,000 downloads. So we are doing amazingly well, and it is all thanks to the Nice Guy community. Thank you so very much for all that you do. If you would like to support the show, we will not say no, okay? We really would appreciate it. We have reward levels that top out at $1,500 all the way down to $1. If you would like to be a $1,500 Patreon patron, we would appreciate that. Strick and I actually would come and have lunch with you, and we would talk all bunch of fuckery with you as well. So
we'll fly to you wherever you are.
Yeah. So
Dubai would be fine.
Yeah, we would be happy to. Well, you know what, Strick? If we wanted to stop playing with that Velcro, put that Velcro.
Sorry,
down.
You're hearing that still. We'll talk about that more on Thursday.
I'm trying to. How do you know that?
Because I'm jumping in the time machine and driving forward to Thursday.
Yeah. So if you where were we? You got me lost there for a second. We talked about
$1,500 Patreon level.
Oh yeah. So Patreon levels. Oh yeah. If we fly to Dubai, we actually would be spending most of the money. So we would appreciate if you're in Dubai that you could actually kick in a couple more bucks than $1,500 because
maybe they could donate for 2 months at $1,500 a month.
That would be true. But we would only come once. That would make sense, right?
We would.
Yeah, that would. Special thanks to Dallin Miller PR for sponsoring this episode. If you don't know about Dallin Miller PR, they are a podcast placement company. They, if you have any interest in booming your products or your brand on podcast, Dallin Miller has 3 different packages that will suit your needs. Just check out thepodcastteam.com. That is Dallin Miller PR. Jason, Dallin, and the gang over there will be key at placing you on a number of podcasts.
What was that noise?
What?
What was that noise? Was that something in your end?
Not on my end. I have nothing on my end.
It sounded like a radio started playing or something.
No, not on my side.
Please continue. Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
You're crazy, man. And
apparently.
And I am moving forward in the Twitter arena. If you haven't ever seen or heard of a company called socialquant.net, check them out. Click on the link on the show notes. If you want a targeted, finely tuned following, and Strickland, you got to stop playing with that Velcro. Put it down.
Now you're aware of it. Now
I'm totally aware of it.
I can't. It's my ADHD. I need something to play with. I need a fidget spinner.
I have one of those. The next time I see you, you can have this one. I spoke at the Marriott last week, and they gave me this. They gave all to the senior level execs all of these fidget spinner things, and I'm like, that's pretty cool, but why would somebody that's in senior level management, do they have those issues too? I thought this was always only an issue that like little kids wanted to have these things.
So what are you trying to say, that my ADHD is just a little kid thing?
No, I'm not saying that your ADHD
That is exactly what you're saying, Doug.
All right, sorry. Would you like my fidget spinner?
Yes, very much.
There's actually ball bearings in this thing.
You can no shit. That's why it's a fidget spinner. That's why it fucking spins. It's got ball bearings in it.
I didn't realize. I was looking at it through the light, and you can actually see a whole bunch of ball bearings in there.
Are you going to go watch an episode of How It's Made and figure it out?
Oh, no. I would listen to How It's Made, and I guess I would have to go over to iTunes to listen to it, because if I listen to How It's Made on Overcast, then they actually might get closer in the rankings than we are. So,
Focus.
Oh, sorry, Mara. I'm sorry. I'm trying hard to focus. Final thing that if you, I think I just started to talk about Social Quant. If you want to have a focused, fine-tuned Twitter following, just like Mara says, go over to socialquant.net, and they will help you with that. They helped me build my Twitter following from about 18,000 to 32,000. Focused not just by buying Twitter followers. This is not how this works. This is a good growth of your Twitter following. Ooh, that sounds kind of icky. But anyway, go over to socialquant.net. We'll put the link in the show notes. Okay, we are ready to get to the episode. Are you ready to get to the interview, or you got other stuff that you want to cover?
No, Kim Tracy. Let's talk about Kim and Maxwell James Agency.
All right, Kim Tracy, the Nice Guys on Business, proud to be affiliated with a whole mess of a whole mess of people. What was I going to say? I wasn't going to say losers, was I?
What the hell? Where are you going with that, Doug?
I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say. We have some networks that associate with us and affiliate, and we're a part of them, but shit, before I dig myself any deeper, let's just get to the interview. Kim Tracy, the Maxwell James Agency. Let's do it. According to today's guest, Kim Tracy, if she doesn't know you or like you, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means you probably won't be doing business with her. And I gotta love a person that speaks her mind, not afraid to walk her own path. And as an entrepreneur, that's exactly what we have in Kim. Kim is an expert in PR, in media, as well as being a kick-ass person in the speaking market as well, representing some crazy cool speakers like our really good friend Connie Fife. So I didn't fuck that up too bad, did I, Kim? I'm okay?
You didn't.
Okay.
And Connie Fife is somebody that really deserves that shout out, because when I found out that, number one, she almost had a porn star's name as a child.
Wait a minute. So here's what we talked about when Connie came on the show. This is what we talked about. We talked about the fact that she's got tattoos, the fact that she was a Harley rider, the fact that she was CEO of the Girl Scouts and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I mean, all of those things, like what's not right with this picture? I mean, her personality and style you would not think fits into the Girl Scouts, but how cool she is and was and still continues to be, and with all of that stuff. So she did not mention anything about having a porn star's name almost. So share that story.
Yes, you are going to have to ask her about her first marriage, if I'm not mistaken, and her name became like Connie Honey.
Oh.
And when I heard that, I thought, oh my gosh. So on every social media post for that particular interview that she and I did, I write, from having a porn star's name to becoming CEO of Girl Scouts of America.
Yeah. I remember one time I was interviewing Arianna Huffington, and she had just come out with her book, The Sleep Revolution, I think was the name of her book. And we were talking on the show, and she said it. I don't think I said it. I think she said it. You know, Doug, I've actually figured out a way to sleep my way to the top. And I thought that was really good. And I feel like, okay, I've let somebody feel comfortable enough with the show just in 5 minutes, because I only had like 15 minutes of her time. Which, if you ask my wife, that's 14 more minutes than I actually need with any woman. I feel like I won her over in quick order, and then I heard her speak somewhere, and she used the same line. I'm like, shit, it wasn't just me.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it wasn't just me. So, Kim, we've gotten so off track, and we haven't even gotten on track to start. Why don't you share with the Nice Guy community what you do and what some of the things that you specialize in, so we can start right there.
So the best thing that I can start off with is Every Level of Success is a company that I am co-founder with the former NBA veteran Maurice Evans. And I love this company because the mission is to support athletes at every stage of their careers. And we both know that we have seen athletes fall from grace. We have seen athletes make mistakes, but we've also seen coaches make mistakes. And the most recent example I'm going to use is actually Tiger Woods, because
oh my gosh,
he is clearly still a very, very good person, but he has got to get some levels of support, whether that is professional help or something. So instead of having the media just, take this guy down, he used to be one of our country's golden boys, if you will. Well, what is going on with him now? So, when I saw that story break over Memorial Day weekend, the first person I texted was Maurice and said, doggone it, he needs Every Level of Success, because we have a 360 service provider network that is compiled of vetted providers who could have provided him with the recovery, the addiction counseling.
But Kim, Kim, you have to be a guy that wants, what's the first step on the way to resolving a problem is just admitting that you have the problem. Does he see that he has a problem? I know this isn't a show about Tiger Woods, but don't you have to recognize the fact that, dude, you fucking got this DWI and you have all of these issues going on in your life. Straighten up, fix yourself, and get some professional help.
Well, you would think, because from the outside, that is what you would think. But have you ever been in a situation where you've had the V8 moment?
No, where you're actually slapping your head like, oh
yes.
My God, the aha moment is over.
Yes, have you ever had that moment in your life?
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. So share what that aha moment means if you're representing these guys.
Yeah, so Stephen Long, who was a guest of yours very recently and is one of our speakers, he did a segment with me about the air bubble that a CEO creates around himself. And this is really the environment that all of us have. We all have our own little bubble. And it's only when somebody pops the bubble that you have that level of awareness of, oh my gosh, I think I need a little bit of help. And Tiger Woods may have had this experience. I'm not sure yet. But what was devastating is when I saw that it happened in Jupiter, Florida, I'm thinking, gosh, Doug McGurk of Palm Healthcare is right down the way. And Doug specializes in recovery and addiction.
So how do you get these guys to recognize that they actually need to get into the professionals that have the ability to help them? How do you even, I don't know if there's any convincing them. I don't know if there is.
There's this level of self-awareness that everybody has to come to, and part of it could be hitting rock bottom. I remember being on a flight with a therapist, and he said, actually, before you hit rock bottom, there are 4 different phases that you go through in terms of contemplation, and then there's another level of contemplation, and then you suddenly think, oh, maybe I need a little bit of help. But I have the benefit of having a very good friend named Leslie Russell, and she is an EAP and social worker, so she has really helped me identify different behaviors and ways that you can help somebody in terms of guiding them, but nobody can make the horse drink the water.
Right. No,
you can lead them down that path, and then they have to come to that realization of, am I going to jump off the cliff, or am I going to stay where I am?
So it sounds like you represent a bunch of professional athletes in the speaking world, or in other areas as well, in PR as well.
We have a good collection of both, because with every level of success, obviously we cater to the professional athlete, but also as well as the collegiate athlete and the legacy athlete. And then on the speaker side, we've noticed that a lot of pro athletes want to speak. As you and I both know, as a media professional, I remember saying to Mo Evans, well, I turn on ESPN and I feel like I have job security every day because there's a bad interview. Somebody's getting raked over the coals. Something is happening to somebody. And I remember one day being in Houston with him, and he's like, hey, KT, come in and watch this. And I'm watching the interview. I don't remember the kid's name, but he is the quarterback, I think, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it was very well intended. They wanted him to go into a school and speak to children.
Okay.
And whoever the person was, whether it was the PR person, the event person, whoever it was, they did not properly prep him. Therefore, he got thrown to the wolves. And you've got 4 ESPN analysts tearing this guy down. He already has a blemished reputation because of, his collegiate career and things that he had done there. And now I think, great, now as a pro athlete, he's already in a situation where he's got to rebuild his professional reputation and his public persona. He's not even 27 years old.
I love how you say several times on your site and some of this information that I was reading about you as I'm doing a little research, the speakers that you market, especially the athletes, I guess, they have walked the walk. They don't just present like a talking head message. Can you share why this talking head message is just not going to cut it in the world of Kim?
I think it's not even the world of Kim. I think it's in the world of the United States as well as the world. We don't want to see a talking head anymore. We want to see a real person. We want to hear about your struggles. We want to hear about your challenges. We want to also learn how does their information apply to me? Because you had said it, this show is primarily for solopreneurs and entrepreneurs. They love takeaways. Well, when we invest our time in listening to a podcast, watching a television show, whatever, our goal is to get something out of it.
Yeah.
So with every speaker, they go through a vetting process. And right now, thankfully, we have Aaron, who's my assistant, and Aaron fields any inquiries. And if they don't pass Aaron, they're certainly not going to get to me.
Yeah, they got to go through the Aaron test. I love that.
They've got to go through the Aaron test. And what's great about Aaron right now, we're at June 29th, Aaron is 25 years old. So a lot of people have said to me, oh, I work with millennials. I know all about millennials. I'm like, whatever. I work with a millennial every doggone day. Just talk to Aaron. That's all the feedback I need.
Right.
And Aaron has gotten to the point where she can really look even at a conference description and say, they don't even pay. Don't even bother.
Right.
Or she can look at a speaker, and she sent a guy to me. It was a couple of weeks ago. He's out of Dubai. And I said to her, here's the deal with international speakers. Do they have the proper visa to work in the United States?
That would be like you would think that would be like the number one thing. Can they actually get into the States to speak?
We have not had any international speakers be able to be represented by us because they can't get the visa.
That's amazing. You wouldn't even think they would. Why would anybody even want to apply, or how would they think that as a part of being represented by an American firm that you would provide the visas for them to come in and speak?
I think a lot of people would. And the truth is, when you're a speaker, you're a 1099. You are self-employed. That check is actually cut to you. So in terms of, being able to earn that money in the United States, the answer back to us was, well, so-and-so holds this type of a visa. Well, we went and researched the visa and had to write back and say, well, that's all fine and dandy. It's not the right visa.
All right, let's bring it into the United States. I'm confident that many of the people that are out there listening to you and aspire to speak, they're
like, oh no.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Well, they're not. We do have 65% of our listeners are in the U.S., which means that 35% are outside the U.S. But we do have a number of speakers a number of people that are in our audience that I'm sure aspire to speak as an expert, even if they're not getting paid to do it. Just being an expert ultimately can potentially lead to a payday in some way, shape, or form. Can you share maybe some of the common traits that a successful speaker would have if they're approaching you, aside from just walking the walk? Give me some concrete stuff.
Oh, you're going to be so sorry you asked that question. So
Okay.
We have an actual application.
Okay.
We did what you just asked me to do. I put it in the form of an application where we want to evaluate their social media presence.
Oh yeah, big.
It is big. And you have a very substantial following on Twitter. You've done very well to build that following organically. But if a speaker comes to me and says, oh, Doug, I'm an internationally renowned speaker. I do this, I do that, but I have a Twitter following of 100.
I'm like, what the fuck?
There you go.
Right.
I didn't even have to say it.
Right.
Which means they didn't pass the Aaron test.
Well, the other thing, just interesting that you say that, forget the fact that they might have 100 followers, but let's say that they have a house of cards that is built on 100,000 or even 200,000 followers, in which case many times I have seen this, the people apply to come on our show, and they're nuts if they don't think I'm going to do a little investigation. I see that they have 100,000 followers. That's great. And then I look and I see each one of their followers in the last, 4 or 5 or 10 engagements, they have one follower, they're following 1,000. I'm like, when you do that, it's like, okay, you just bought your followers. You realize that, right? And you realize I can see that.
And they're probably in a grave.
Right, or they're dead, they're dead, yeah.
They don't exist. So social media presence is huge because a speaker, they have to accept that they are wanting to become a public figure or a celebrity. And there is a lot of responsibility that comes with that title because you as a public figure or a celebrity, you are subjected to a lot of criticism, a lot of media attention, and a lot of people think, well, there's all this, happiness going on. Well, for crying out loud, if you want the crappy stuff, just go to TMZ. And if you want to get thrown under the bus, go on that show, right?
So social presence is real important, and I get that. Well, give me something else. What else? So say it again.
content.
Okay, great. So somebody that's got a blog, a podcast, a YouTube channel that has valuable content. So how do you research that? What do you do? Again, do you put Erin on this and she's off and running?
I put Erin on this. Erin's off and running, and she evaluates your YouTube channel. She's going to evaluate your website. She's going to evaluate that blog if you have one, which I don't think you have to, but if you want one, knock yourself out.
Right.
She'll also research how many times have you appeared in the media, because yes, I am a PR person by trade. So I'm going to be looking at, well, who's covered you? What have you done? Because I'm not going to market an empty glass of water. It doesn't work like that. And Erin is the one, thank the Lord, who will actually write back and say, thank you so much for your application, blah, 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 because she's now become very good at what I call the rejection letter.
Yeah, because what percentage of the people that actually apply to your agency get past that round one? They've now.
I think it's 1%.
1%. It's got to be low.
And we haven't signed any.
Yeah, it's got to be low, because it's got to be, you look at it and you just see, and I look from my experience and I'm thinking, okay, I wrote a blog for 3 years. I continue to guest blog. I have my podcast. I have a pretty good social following. I have great engagement. We've built a community. I've got a good audience. I look at those things and I just say, if you can't pass the walk that I have walked over the last couple of years, last 4 or 5 years, if you can't at least show me that you've done that, then why would I want to represent you? Or why would I even want to have you on my show if I see that everything that you do is so shallow that I can't get past that you don't even have a veneer. I mean, it's less than a veneer. I can see through the cellophane that you're shitting with me.
There you go. And you said it. So part of our vetting process is to see, number one, where are they in their career? How much money have they put into their career? Because a lot of people are under the myth of believing, oh, if you publish a book, speaking engagements will follow. And I'm like, who said that?
Yeah, who said that? Because I have a book and that's not how it happens.
Yeah, that's not how it happens. I tell a lot of speakers, becoming a speaker, but also very much like becoming an entrepreneur, this is a marathon without a finish line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is what you signed up for. If you don't want to engage in this type of activity and do the same boring things day after day after day, go be a W-2. There's nothing wrong with being a W-2. But yeah, content we found is king, because there are so many different ways to repurpose content.
Sure.
And an experiment that I've been doing on my own LinkedIn channel, or the posts, I found that by being a little bit snarky in the initial post, aka, she went from having a porn star name to becoming CEO of the Girl Scouts.
Controversy, baby. I love it.
Controversy. But then I found that if I put in an actual comment by Kim Tracy, it boosts the post. And then I found that when I do a second post, or a second comment, even if it's just me, very much like you and I, we can't make this stuff up.
Right.
So why not comment about a video that I've done with a speaker that supports the video and is a real life situation?
Yeah, that's interesting. Really interesting. So from a marketing standpoint, where do you think that most people that are entrepreneurs, they're missing? Are they not creating enough content? Are they not engaging a community enough? Are they not really walking the walk? Where do you think most entrepreneurs are missing?
Ooh, I want to say if we looked at a piece like a pie, I would say a little bit of everything that you just mentioned. One of the biggest things that I see people not paying attention to in terms of, let's say, preventative maintenance, it is their reputation.
Okay.
Pam Gockley, who I hope you interview soon, is our reputation expert affiliated with Every Level of Success. And she just launched a reputation learning center because the intent is to educate. And it's to say, let's make sure that you think before you act or respond. Let's make sure that you do this. And for some reason, she's actually becoming a vendor for a lot of doctors and lawyers.
Oh, reputation management is huge. And I would have to think in that world, it's got to be really big as well.
Huge. But also in your world, if somebody didn't like your podcast, if you insulted somebody, if you did something, you would have to do a little bit of damage control.
Yeah.
And this is where Pam and I work very well together, because for me, it's crisis communications. And even for, the kids, through the NFL draft, the moniker was, don't post anything online that your mother would disapprove of.
Yeah, very true.
Because I don't have the time to scan all of your social media posts. But if I get a call you're going to be shaking in your boots.
What if you're edgy though? What if you're somebody like Gary Vee, or you're somebody that just likes to use, and I don't do it purposely, but I find myself, I find I'm just being myself when I'm talking on the air. So for me, I tend to be a little bit loose with my language. How do you feel? Do you feel like that affects your reputation at some point, or you find that that's okay, it's more acceptable nowadays than it's ever been, or you share? I mean, I'm okay with taking some criticism, or I'm okay with being, condoned for the actions because I'm just talking the way I want to talk.
It's all three. So the fact that this is who you are and you're very comfortable with who you are, I applaud that. And then you as an adult would think, well, would I use this type of language in front of 6-year-old children if I'm at kindergarten?
No.
So you have a level of awareness and cognitive ability to say, all right, if I'm going to go and speak to a bunch of conservative CEOs or what have you,
absolutely,
how do you need to put yourself forth? So oftentimes on social media, I do tell the guys, just don't post anything that your mother is going to call you on the carpet for.
Right.
And what it means is think before you act. There's a great song on YouTube and it's called Don't Hit Send.
Yeah, okay.
And everybody listening to this and be like, oh crap, did I just do that today?
Right.
Put your hands in your pockets, walk away from the computer, go walk around the block. Yesterday I got some pretty bad news, so I went and swam for 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's interesting. So before you hit send, just think about it. Very true. Boy, what interesting thought. Are you familiar? I'm sure you are because you're in the PR world. You're familiar with Wiki and, how you can have your name all, I don't know what it is. When I go to the internet and I search Google and it's the first thing that comes up, like if I were to type in your name, what do you think about Wiki as far as getting information? Is that fact? Is it fiction? Is it something that you can manufacture? What's it all about?
So I don't know what it's all about, but I can say for Wiki, one thing that I don't like about it is that anybody can edit.
All right. So how does that happen? So you
have what you do on a Wikipedia page, if you had one, somebody could actually view your page and click edit, and they could edit your Wikipedia page, submit it to them, and then they would probably go through their process of publishing it or not. And I think that if you're going to put out information about yourself, you should be able to control to some point that information.
Right. So if you're saying that monitor it, if you have a wiki page, you may as well, you really need to monitor. Do you do anything from a PR perspective? Do you encourage your clients to have a wiki page or not? Or does it matter?
It depends on who they are, because it's almost like you remember the Dr. Seuss story about the Sneetches.
It's funny you bring up Dr. Seuss. One of my most controversial guests, I guess, that came on the show. I made a Dr. Seuss reference and she brought me right back to her book. Anyway, that's
Dr. Seuss is great because, does a Wikipedia page offer information? Maybe. Is it as good as a resource that you and I might have referenced when we were growing up? Probably not.
Right.
But is it quick? Is it convenient? One of our speakers, Bob Tipton, has always taught me, verify it. Don't trust one source.
Yeah, that's true.
Read it, go to another, go to another, go to another. It's very much like hiring a vendor to come and remodel your bathroom. Are you going to ask for references, or are you just going to trust the person and pay the quote?
Yeah, a valid point. Share your thoughts about this, because I think that you, again, in a lot of the stuff that I've done in researching you and trying to find out, okay, what makes Kim tick, you say a lot about, really, that's a loaded statement right there. Success has no shortcut. So talk to me about what that means to you. I mean, I know it sounds like a canned, okay, give me a soundbite about it. But the issue is that I see this over and over again, that you comment about it and that you kind of get something, one of the subjects you get pretty emotional about. There's no shortcut.
There are no shortcuts to success. I think I recently wrote, maybe even the other day, that reality television has made reality not reality.
Yeah, agreed. Share what that means to you.
And it's because anybody who, and I think reality TV is kind of funny, but at the same time, I also know that it's really brought down the level of what you and I would consider broadcast or television quality or what have you. But any of those producers are going to say, if you really think we built this house in 30 minutes, you're in a pipe dream.
Right.
And for entrepreneurs, if they think raising capital is easy, they're in a pipe dream. If they think once they raise that capital, oh, things are going to be all rosy and dandy, the number of companies that actually raise capital and end up going out of business because they paid overinflated salaries. They put the money in the wrong places. They weren't able to even have their processes in place. All of this goes into back-end operations because, yeah, success is not a shortcut. And if anything, it's almost like a bowl of spaghetti. You never know where you're going to end up. You're going to have to go through the trench. You're going to have to go through a dip. You're going to get stuck in a cul-de-sac. And all this stuff is going to happen to you. But I remember one of my speakers actually saying to me, as you raise capital, be prepared for a roller coaster like no other.
Yeah.
And if Maurice Evans were not as level-headed as he is, I would probably be a train wreck, because when you are going through this type of an emotional process, you have to be in complete alignment with your CEO. And that makes the journey, is what we call it, far more fun, because it's not easy. You go through a lot of emotions. You go through a lot of like, well, wait a minute, I thought this person was going to come through. You have a client that you over deliver on. Well, then they've trained you to over deliver for the rest of your life.
I love that your agency is not one of those mega agencies, more of like a boutique agency in style. Was that by design, or are you on your way up to becoming a mega agency? I can't tell from it's hard to get that message out of your website, so I don't know what your philosophy or your design is all about.
Being that Denver has 85% small businesses, I really am a champion of small business. I'm also a champion of delivering what you say you're going to deliver. So yeah. Erin, in her tutelage with me, has said, well, what happens if a speaker doesn't get a speaking engagement? And I'm like, well, there's nowhere in our contract that guarantees a speaking engagement. What we do guarantee is the marketing, the promotion, the providing them opportunities to get their messages out there, which should lead to speaking engagements.
I think it's really challenging, and I'll approach this as a professional speaker, and one that has approached many of the big box agencies, and I won't mention any names because we happen to have the founder of one of the big ones on our show. And I was kissing his ass just like I would kiss anybody's ass that has potential to represent me. I'm just like, I can't get people to listen to me. Unless I'm a guy that's coming to the table already with 4 or 5 dozen jobs a year, and I'm delivering those to the agency and saying, I want you to represent me. It seems like a lot of the agencies just don't want to even talk to us. And when I say us, I mean the smaller speaker, the one that's not at a $25,000, price point. How do you handle a guy like me, like many of us that are out there that are just, we'd be willing to work extremely hard to get the gigs. We'll help in the sales process. We'll help in the, in the flexibility of our fees process. What is it that you guys look for from speakers like us that are just trying to get gigs?
It's that same process that Erin vets you through, is to see how much skin in the game have you put? What effort have you made toward marketing yourself? What have you engaged in your own business?
Right.
And that, I think, is what's really important, because any agent, whether they're a big box or not, that agent can promote or not to the best of their abilities. But if the speaker isn't taking ownership for their own reputation and brand and business, that agent can do everything possible. But if they go on there and they're like, Doug who?
Right.
And Doug Sandler is probably a very popular name. So I remember a story. Gary Lear is the speaker. He got an email from a competing agency, and they had put up his page without his permission, and everything was great. And they attached that $25,000 price tag to him, and they also attached a YouTube video.
Well, wrong Gary Lear.
Gary Lear. Because I said, I thought you were Native American. I didn't realize that you were a country music star. And he goes, I didn't either, but isn't it great? $25,000. I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, but you got to go in there and you got to speak about how your people have been held back by the white man.
I mean, something like that. And you're just like, oh my gosh. And the fact that he's like got a great company and everything. So I find that we like to represent the speaker as who they are. Mo Evans, when he came to me, he said, the reason I signed with you is You met me where I was. You didn't query me about my NBA career. You didn't, rake me over the coals. And I very much looked at representing him as the opportunity where his reputation could help the speaker agency. Yeah. So where we are now is we're at the point where we're merging into not only that sports and entertainment side, but we're really looking for those speakers who deliver infotainment.
Yeah, I like what you're all about, and I love your attitude. I love your approach to business, and everything that you have said has been so on point as far as someone that's an entrepreneur that's listening to this, especially someone that's an entrepreneur listening to this and wants to get some business advice, and they're a professional speaker or want to make that turn into the professional speaking world, handpicked for this show. So Kim, thank you so much. If our listening audience, if our Nice Guy community wanted to get more information about your agency or about what you do, how can they reach out? Well, how can they reach out to Aaron? Because you're going to just put them in touch with Aaron anyway. So how can they get in touch with you?
The best place is maxwelljames.net. And our phone number is on there as well as the application form.
That is awesome. I'm looking forward to working on some projects with you. And I know that, you, me, and Connie, it's gonna be hell on wheels if anybody ever calls for the stuff that we have. I'm excited about it. So, before we let you go, one final question. Do you have your cell phone anywhere near you?
I do, but it's off because of standard policy.
That's okay, but you'll probably know the answers to this question. Do you have an iPhone or something inferior?
I have an iPhone. Thank goodness I don't have something inferior.
Oh, why? What did I pose that question? Did I pose that question as slightly biased? Oh, I didn't feel that.
I love it. It's okay. I went to the dark side long ago.
Oh, is the dark side Apple, or is the dark side you went somewhere else and came? Were you one of the original Apple owners?
No, I'm a laggard. I was very much, on the PC side, and then one of my really good friends, Sajal Klee, who is like my Techatron, he's trying to convince me, so he got me onto the iPad, and I thought, oh no. And then when my Crackberry broke, I just sucked it up and I went iPhone altogether. I was like, I didn't even want to look at a Samsung. And then the last purchase was the MacBook Pro, and I thought, oh, I've drank the Kool-Aid.
Yep, totally. Yeah, you've been converted one piece of technology at a time. It's just a matter of time before an Apple Watch comes into your life.
No, that will never happen. Sajal has one and he's good.
Yeah, I keep saying that too. I'm not a watch wearer, but I think the next watch that I get probably will be an Apple Watch. Hey,
but that's okay because you're a nerd.
Yeah, I am. I'm totally a techno nerd. I agree. Kim, thank you so much for being on the show. Nice Guy community. Never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to Kim Tracy for being on the show today. We'll make sure we put all of her information in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
Friday advice and Tuesday interviews with people far more interesting than they are. Fill up your week with the Nice Guys. Have fun storming the castle. Now you can turn it off.